Welcome to Community. I'm your host, Cody Thompson, and on today's episode, I'm so excited to have head coach Paul Bryan in the studio today. Paul, welcome.
G'day, mate. Thank you so much for having me.
Mate, we've been trying to tee this up for a long time. You travel like me all over Australia. We finally synchronised our calendars, which is great.
I'm surprised we haven't ended up in a different state together at the same time at this point.
Doing this at the Virgin Lounge, perhaps.
Yeah,
So, no, it's great to be in the studio here today. Paul, for everyone that doesn't know you, our audience that's listening today, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do in the disability sector.
Yeah, so we've been coaching in this space for around 6 years now, and my whole idea around this was helping people who are really good at what they do build really good businesses so they can keep doing it for a long time, because there's so many people who do fantastic work with people with disabilities, aged care and allied health, but building the business wasn't necessarily a skill set. And so we just give them the tools, we coach them through the process and help them build businesses that are actually going to go and help more people.
Love that. And we see it all the time, even at our events, right? Like you said, great practitioners, people that are in the industry for the right reasons, great at what they do when it comes to delivering services.
Yep.
But the business side of things isn't necessarily their forte or something that they've thought of. So it's good to know that there's actually resources out there that can help them. Did you wake up one day and go, you know what, I want to be a business coach? Like, I did it, I wanted to be a fireman when I was a kid, and I was like, that's what I'm going to do. Like, how did it happen? How did you become a business coach?
This is fairly left of field. I had a renovations business since around 2005, and I realized very quickly on that I was fantastic at what I did, but wasn't overly good at the business. And what I wanted to do was find someone to help me. I actually got myself a business coach. And we did some really cool stuff. We built an amazing business here in Perth, doing so much in regards to what we call micro renovations. Built a massive niche there. And then people started asking me for help with their businesses. And so I just help a mate with his business and a bit over here, and he'd refer me. And eventually, mid 20-teens, I was doing quite a bit of it. And so I thought I should probably go get a bit more, qualification in this sort of a space. And through one thing or another, I was referred to a friend who actually had an NDIS business. I thought, I better go, learn this space so I can really help him. And we did some really cool stuff with his business. He was a loan operator. He ended up having some staff, and he was getting amazing results for his clients. And it was so much more rewarding for me to help him with his business, and then he got to help more people, as opposed to, for instance, the mechanic I was also working with at the time, who his whole goal was to buy a new boat.
Yeah.
And so that really led me into this space where I just decided that if I want to help people, I want to help people who help others.
Yeah, definitely.
So that became the focus.
So cool, because it is the ripple effect, right? By helping that person that helps someone else, like the magnitude of their support they're able to provide, and even just the depth they can help more people and assist is great. So
100%.
Yeah, that's awesome. And when you help these businesses, like you said, is it mainly like directors, business owners? Is it like whole companies? Like how do you get involved, and who is it that you're actually working with?
So we run a program called Profitable Provider, which is a hybrid coaching. It's a bit of one-to-one support for the owners and directors in the business. And then also we build that into a mastermind or a group model as well, because doing business alone is a very slow way to do things. And in every other industry, collaboration and actually working together, not just sharing referrals, is how you do business well. And so we baked it into it, really. So we're working primarily with directors and owners. We also do a lot of support for like GMs and operational managers as well. We run a system inside of that to support them and deliver support to those guys. And from time to time, we step into a larger organization and work with their team leaders and that sort of thing as well.
Yeah, awesome. I love the idea of like almost like a think tank, but getting like-minded people together, because I think, business owner myself, and the same sort of thing, there's an element of like reassurance hearing that, although, different part or, working somewhere else in the industry, but problems can be similar, and there's also then solutions that can be similar and can be applied. So I love the fact there's getting the right people in the same room.
When you are working with other people, you can solve problems faster because somebody else has probably already solved the problem that you're currently dealing with.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. So would you say then in your role, like, are you spending majority of your time fixing problems in a business and supporting people like that, or is it actually then amplifying growth and that sort of side of things?
Look, usually someone comes to me because there is a problem. They're negative revenue, they've lost a bundle of clients, operations manager left and took a bundle of clients with them or whatever the thing might be. But it's usually a symptom, not the root cause.
Yep.
And so the first thing we do with everybody we work with, we do 4 weeks intensive where we just get to the root cause and fix that. And for many businesses, we actually need to help them take maybe 2 steps back and relaunch from a certain space. And we've done this with businesses that are doing $1 million a year, some that are doing $20 million a year. Actually take them backwards a little bit to just get that foundation right. And then everything else becomes so much easier after that.
Yep.
And so we fix a few initial problems, but then we just rebuild the systems, the processes, the team, the way that they do business. And it's usually because they're still running the business the same way as when they started. And, you know, the old saying, what got you here won't get you there is extremely true.
Yeah, that's so true. I like that. And when it comes to these business owners and stuff, like, I don't know, like I meet so many people in the space. I often find that they almost have like beer goggles on, like in the sense that everybody thinks that their business is the best, which is great. And that you got to have that passion, you got to understand. But I can imagine you'd work with some business owners, directors and stuff that probably don't like being told, like you said, that that's a symptom. That's not the root cause. We need to actually make some change. So how do you go about that, navigating some of those ones that probably have, lack of a better term, the beer goggles on and think that their business is perfect and everything else is broken around them?
Oh, yeah. We get a lot of people just saying, oh, you know, the market is saturated. And I don't believe that actually for a minute. There are a lot of providers, but if you create your own market, there is no one else in it. And everyone thinks that they're, let's say, an NDIS business or an aged care business. That's like saying you're an FPOS business because you're only going to get paid by FPOS, right? It's simply a funding model of being paid. And when you realize what you actually do, whether you're a nursing business or an education business or a home support business, the doors open up and we kind of take the blinkers off a business. Just a bit of a process we take them all through. And if they just want to go, well, I just need more clients, well, it's usually a symptom, you know, whether you've got your messaging is not right or you're trying to do the wrong type of thing in the industry or you're not connected or whatever it might be. If you just want more clients, go and see a marketing person, right? But 9 times out of 10, most people are going to spend way too much money on their marketing because they haven't got their messaging right. They don't have a process for actually converting those leads into a sale and then making sure those people stay with them as long as possible, not through coercion, but actually just offering the best possible service, connecting with it. If a business spends more time looking after their existing clients, they will spend so much less on marketing and be so much more profitable long term. Yeah,
definitely. I think the best marketing is that sort of word of mouth approach. And if you're doing the right things, your service is top notch, then that's going to really help. There's things you can do around that. But ultimately, like your work that you're delivering today is the best sort of source when it comes to marketing.
So many of our guys turn off their marketing because simply working on the business, training your team and investing in your team builds your business by osmosis. It just absorbs the industry because people come to you like that. And then your marketing really just goes to finding the right people to service your clients.
Yeah.
And we've got so many guys that just turned off all client-facing marketing because spending that time on actually investing in their team and investing in their services has had such an exponential effect. They have wait lists.
Yeah. Hey guys, a quick message from our sponsors, SN Training. Are you looking for complex care training that you can trust? SN Training are nurse-owned and nurse-led, delivering both accredited training and non-accredited training with a focus in the NDIS high-intensity supports. Compassion is at the forefront of everything they do. They deliver evidence-based, practical education led by experienced nurses who role model best practice and inspire confidence when it comes to high-quality support. With human-centered practice at the heart of everything that they do, you'll not only learn, but you'll learn the right way. SN Training is where expertise meets care and your learning makes a difference. We're so excited to be working with SN Training. They share the same passion that we have for shining the light on positivity in the NDIS sector and for people living with a disability, and we can't wait to keep working with them. Now back to the episode. To an outsider that doesn't still quite maybe understand a business coach or hasn't seen it before, like what's something about your day-to-day that people don't understand? Like what takes your time or what's something that, like I said, it, you know, in some ways would seem glamorous. I'm sure a lot of people would assume it's coffees with business owners and that sort of stuff. But like what does the day-to-day look like?
Yeah, no, pretty much. I get to just walk around having coffees with business owners. No. Look, I'll be honest, it is a large part of it. Genuinely just meeting with people, having those real conversations. But we spend a lot of time analyzing content, analyzing the conversations we're having with business owners, because as much as maybe people see me online doing content everywhere, we put 3 times as much effort into the content we do with our clients. So when we think about I have a meeting with a client, we take that information and we don't just go, it's a one-off. We now are going to utilize that information, help them develop the next strategy of how they're going to, install that process or find that right team. Because it's one thing to go, let's have a nice conversation. I hope you leave feeling better about your business. It's another thing to help speed to result. And that's our primary focus is we can go, here's, you should go and do that. Well, that's great. That's part of coaching. We've sort of identified that the person now has this skill set and they can go and do the thing. It's another thing for us to then also provide you with some tools and resources and systems that you can actually drag and drop into the business.
Yeah.
And so we've developed a process with some of our team to actually just literally take a process, install it in the business, make sure it works so that you're not going, great, it's just another thing that I have to do.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, cool. And is there, you have to name drop as such, but is there a success story or a good news story that you've seen? I'm sure you'd have plenty of them, but one that really, I don't know, rings true for you in terms of the impact you were able to have and then obviously the flow-on effect that they were able to have with their participants?
Yeah, look, there's so many. I'll pick one because it might be probably the most apt for many people possibly listening at the moment. Stevie is an amazing provider over on the East Coast, and when she'd been stalking me and dropping into my inbox here and there for about 18 months, and we'd had a couple of chats and that sort of thing, eventually she pulled the pin and says, Paul, I just need some help. And when we actually had a look, she was living in the Sill House doing all the night shifts because she couldn't get the right team. She couldn't get enough clients in the door. She wasn't profitable. She was doing literally everything herself. And, she'd been doing so much of the hands-on work, but as a business owner, not working on the business, because she just sort of got into this place where she felt like she had to serve so hard so much. Within 4 weeks, she'd moved back home to actually be in her family with her kids, and she had a few key staff that we'd just been able to lean into and help train and support. But then because she now had a bit of space, she went from 1 house to 5 houses within, 8 months.
Yeah, wow.
Right? And then we looked at that and she actually grown probably too fast. And this is one of those scenarios where I said, hey, we're going to take a step back because perhaps that client isn't exactly right for your business and there's someone else that can help them better. So we actually let them go and supported them moving to somebody else's business. And people are going, why would you let go of a client? Because they weren't the right fit for her business.
Yep.
Right? And now with 5 houses, with an amazing team, a couple of people in her business who really have run with what they're doing, they have a wait list, and they've just opened up a charity where they're doing amazing stuff in regards to, crafts and giving work opportunities for the people that are in their Sill homes and also in their community access programs as well, which has been just fantastic to see.
That's awesome. And again, it goes back to, I guess, why you got into the industry, right? But helping people that help people and, that ripple effect we spoke about really does have a difference. So
it just feels good. To be
honest. Definitely. And I think as well, what's cool about that story is it sounded like she kind of had all the pieces there. They went to the right places, and don't get me wrong, you had to make some change. But I think that's sometimes one of the biggest challenges as a business owner. You actually have all the right parts. Maybe they're not firing on all cylinders, it's not working, but you're actually closer than you think. And it does take sometimes there's someone that little step back to be able to give some perspective and go, well, have you thought about this? Have you tried this? And that can simply be the difference.
When you're sitting in your car on the freeway and it's bumper to bumper stop traffic, you can't see the reason why there's a traffic jam. You need someone actually sitting on the outside looking down from the top. That's why the helicopter goes over to give the traffic reports, right? And until you go, there's a thing up here, but you could turn off this way and do this instead, they go, right, I didn't know that was an option.
Yeah, it's a really cool analogy. I like that. You might have to use that one from time to time.
Go for it.
Give you the credit now. It's on camera. So now I want to talk about the industry as a whole. And again, you, like me, meet so many different people. So I feel like you'd have a really good gauge on this. But we're so big on inclusion on this podcast, and I think it's a word that's thrown around a lot. But I firmly believe there are some providers out there in particular doing great things behind actually making the community more inclusive. I'd love to know from your own perspective, like what does inclusion truly mean? And again, what are some of the good things you're seeing out there where people are actually really being inclusive?
I'll be very honest. I think inclusion has lost all meaning, kind of like empowerment and client-centered.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that if you only, and this may be very unpopular for a lot of people, but if you only service people with disabilities, you're not actually talking about inclusion.
Yeah.
Because, when we think about this idea of, we're so inclusive, we work with people with disabilities. Well, no, that's a segment.
Mm-hmm.
That's not inclusive, right? Inclusion is when you actually bring people together of all different types of backgrounds, abilities, nationalities, all this sort of thing. And to be honest, for a lot of people, that's not actually a good business model.
Mm-hmm.
We use inclusion because, and the amazing Tommy Trout has an amazing informational session on this. Inclusive AF is a brilliant informational thing on where disability support has come from. But it's really important to know that so many of these words are just because this is how you applied for funding in the past. I actually believe that if we're going to be inclusive, your business shouldn't be a disability business or an NDIS business. You should go, what can we actually provide the market? What can we deliver fantastic service in and get results in? Some of the people that need that have funding, and some of the people don't have funding. Some of the people are fee-for-service clients. Some of the people have government funding through, whether it be insurance commission or something like that. And then sometimes you're going to build a business that helps so many people that you get paid so well for through various models and schemes that you can actually go out and help people for free because your profit margin allows you to do that. Yeah. And a lot of people go, I want to help people for free, so I'm just going to work with people for free. But that's not sustainable when you start.
Yeah.
So they kind of just go through this process. I'm just going to be so inclusive and I'm going to give everybody all their empowerment that they want. I don't remember asking for empowerment at any stage. No, it's not usually a word that comes up. But getting really clear on who you actually serve is more important.
Yeah, it's such a great message. And I mean, there are so many, and we hear the term a lot, but like profit for purpose businesses. And I think that's what it needs to be. At the end of the day, it needs to be sustainable. There's no point being a great business for 4 weeks and then going under because you couldn't keep the lights on. So you need to be sustainable in that regard. We see it so much though, like our DEC expos, you mentioned it, but like we get people with a disability coming to our expo and they walk around and they go, well, no one actually was able to help me today because they all were NDIS businesses. And I look around the room and I go, there are so many people here that should be able to help you. Yep. Their service model should allow that to happen regardless of where the funding comes from. So I totally agree. I think it's definitely something that needs work in the space. And from a sustainability point of view, I think that's where the mindset of so many providers needs to go to.
I think there's just a massive issue in the market. People believing that profiting and profiteering are the same thing. And this idea of, the fraud that's happened, everyone's so worried about profit. And the model itself allows for 2% profit margin, which is just not sustainable. The only other industry, I think Tanya Gomez was saying in the last session that we did at our summit that we had, was the only other industry that does that in the country is hospitality. Like cafes are running tight margins like that. It's not a model that you go into thinking this is a good business decision.
Yep.
So in order to be sustainable, you need to understand what profit is, understand how you're going to build that, and not – there is no NDIS. There is no such thing as an NDIS business. It's just not a thing.
Yep.
It's just simply a funding model that you operate in.
Yeah. And let's talk about it right now in the sense that there is so much change coming and announced, pending doom, it feels like at times. There's a lot of people worrying about it at the moment.
Yep.
What are some of the changes that you're either forecasting or seeing happening? And I guess probably the better question to that as well is like, what are you seeing some businesses do now to set themselves up to get through this space?
Yeah, look, some of the things can happen pretty quick. They don't need to change legislation for many of those things. And I'd be expecting, over the next 6 to 12 months, a lot of those things are going to be starting to happen. Some things will have to go through legislative change, and that could take a period of time. The time frame they've outlined between now and 2030 actually looks pretty appropriate for what they're expecting. And so if you haven't started building out a plan for what your business looks like with these things in place. And to be brutally honest, no one should be surprised. They've been bringing this in and suggesting this for a while. We sort of see the pattern of where it's been running. Then you really need to be looking at that of what makes my business sustainable over this next little while. We're looking at funding cuts in certain areas. So if your model is purely for people with lower level disabilities just doing community access, you need to think about where does this service also transition to? Like, is that in the public market? Is this in an aged care scenario? Is this different possible models we could operate in? But also, as things get harder, less people do it, which means that there's more opportunity for the people who have built a stable business, who have a wide range of ability to provide service across models. That allows them to build a business that's going to sustain through this next period.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think I've said it before on here, but crisis creates opportunity. And
100%.
Like you said, there's going to be so much opportunity out there, but again, it's doing the hard work now to be set up to be sustainable, foundationally set for when those changes happen. I think there are so many providers out there that effectively are trying to do more with less. And I mean that from, again, they want to keep the doors open, they want to keep servicing and supporting people, but they're probably cutting things like marketing budget and different things, which I personally think is obviously a challenge, but I'd love to hear it from your lens. Like, if I'm a provider listening at the moment and I'm going, all right, I want to keep going, I want to keep growing, but I don't have the funds I maybe used to have or the funds I want to have. Do you have any like sort of quick wins or I guess advice or anything like that to keep those providers going and trying to sort of course correct?
I had a conversation with a provider who was literally in that position. He said, Paul, things have gotten so tight. I'm tired. I don't really know what to do. I feel like I just need to spend more money on marketing right now. And my comments to him were around a couple of things. Number one, don't try and be everything for everybody. That's a very unprofitable way to run a business. Find a specific niche where you can serve the hell out of that market and give them some amazing services. Number two, you should not be spending money on marketing unless people are coming to you for free. And what that means is organic marketing, being out there, being visible, being consistent in the market with a message, not a logo or a slogan, but actually going out there and saying, this is exactly how we help people. Here's the process we take people through. Here's the problems that you're going to encounter, and this is how we solve them. You're building trust. And when you build trust with a market, you have such a better platform to be able to get in front of the right people that you want to serve. You don't need to serve 10,000 people. You probably need 2 or 3 more clients. Don't try and talk to all 700,000 participants. Talk to 2 or 3 people. Once you have that in process, once you have those regular referrals, those people are coming to you and they're actually becoming clients and you're not losing clients out the back end as well, then you have the ability to invest in marketing. Right? And so it's just knowing that, right, number one, who exactly do I help? Who's the very specific niche that I can service? Number two, what are the things that they're currently dealing with that I know about that I can talk about? Because if you're providing good service in this space, you have what we call intellectual property, the IP of how you do what you do. Start talking about it. Start talking about it very, very prolifically and getting it out there online. And most people want to hide their face, trying to pretend they're a bigger business than they are. No, don't do that. Get out online, literally get your face out there talking about these things, because that builds trust faster than anything else. Yeah,
I totally agree. And allow people to connect with you as opposed to being a faceless business ultimately. And I love the advice around like almost like do less in the sense of like you don't have to be everything to everyone. I think we see so many people that go, okay, well, if I open more things or I do more of stuff, naturally I'll get more customers. And I totally agree.
Far less profitable.
I totally agree. It's all about no, stay in your lane, know what you do it well, do it better than anyone else, and that'll be your point of difference.
Less but better.
All right, Paul, now we're going to jump into Sharp 7.
Ooh,
this is, brace yourself. I've got some questions loaded in the gun, ready to go.
Awesome. All right.
Stay with me. Like I said, shorter, sharper, but let's see how you go.
Okay.
All right. First one is an easy one because it's a one-word answer.
Okay.
So question 1, what's one word that describes the state of the NDIS today?
Opportunity.
I like that. Yeah, cool. Okay. What's the biggest opportunity you see right now in the sector?
Diversification.
Okay, you give me a bit more if you want.
Okay. That's probably a misnomer when we've just talked about niching, but diversification of what you do with that niche.
Okay. Elaborate a tiny bit. I don't know, again, sharp seven.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Elaborate
Okay,
a tiny
cool.
bit more.
All right. So diversification in you have a specific service for a specific group of people. Who else needs that service?
Yeah, okay.
Okay. And so we talk about diversification. It's not doing everything for one person. It's doing one thing for a lot of people.
Yep.
And that becomes a very, very important thing to have.
All right, question 3. What's the most rewarding part of your job?
Being there when a provider realizes that they have already hit the goal and gone past what they thought was possible, and now they are twice the size they thought they'd get to, or they're helping twice as many people, or they've finally gone, I can have that holiday because my team can do the job.
Yeah, like reassessing goals, but because you smashed it and you're going to do it, that's really cool. Okay.
Yeah, I love it.
What's the best advice you've ever received as a business owner?
Oh, best advice I've ever received. That's a hard one. There's lots of it. I think it actually comes back to, I mentioned this earlier, do less, but better.
Yeah, I like that. I think you need to coin that on a shirt or something.
Yeah, I think we do.
Yeah, I really like that because it really does speak to people out there, like you said, that get lost in the sea of trying to be everything to everybody. It's like, no, just do it, but do it really, really well.
Do less, but do it amazingly. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, well, I'm going to flip it now. So that was the best advice you've ever received as an owner. I'm going to peer behind the curtain a little bit. What's the best advice that you've ever given to someone else?
Oh, okay.
What's one of the go-to ones that you like to give out, or like you said, that really you seem to think makes a difference?
Yeah, you're not an NDIS business.
Okay, elaborate on that one.
When people really get this understanding that they're not an NDIS business, their whole world opens up. And they think that they have to do a certain number of things. And I'm going to get some hate for this, but in the right context, compliance is a distraction. Okay? Because you're doing everything in one particular market and you spend all of your time jotting all the boxes. Now, believe me, I understand we need accountability. We need registered providers who are like able to report and properly. That is 100%. I'm not saying it's not needed, but when you are only operating in a space where you are having to jump through all these hoops, you are missing so many other opportunities. Mm-hmm. So that idea of going, I'm not an NDIS business, I'm a service business, I'm a support business, I'm a nursing business, look at what the other opportunities are, because that whole compliance model keeps you bound to one model. And, I work with businesses that operate across, Insurance Commission WA, NISQ, TAC, and all this. There's compliance in there as well. So the more models you use, the more different compliance models you have to operate in, which is fantastic because that accountability is needed. But if you think that you're just an NDIS business because this is how that model operates, you're not going to last the next 18 to 24 months.
Yeah, I appreciate the context. It makes a lot of sense. So that's good. That's perfect.
Someone's going to take that.
That's all right. I can run with it. That's fine. Yeah. You listen to the whole thing, guys. That's why. All right. What's something that people don't know about you? Like, what's a hobby or an interest about Paul that, I think you're very popular online. A lot of people would know you, but what's something they might not know about you that we can uncover today?
I am also an associate pastor at our church.
Wow.
So we do a lot of pastoral care and supporting people and families within our church and in the wider community as well. And I really enjoy it.
Amazing. That's very cool. Okay. And the last question of the Sharp 7 is one that we ask everybody, which is, how do you define community?
Oh, yeah. Look, I think community is one of the fundamental forces of being human, the human experience. We were never designed to do everything alone. And I believe that if you've chosen to be in business, that applies to that as well. And, coming from other industries, I've been in the renovations industry, the building industry, all this sort of thing. We had communities of businesses where I could go down the road to the next renovations business and say, hey, we're out of this material. Have you got it? Yeah, cool, no worries. Yeah. We'll share that resource or team or whatever it is. Building community as a business owner is one of the most, it's like a superpower. It really is. For most people, collaboration means sharing business cards and hopefully I'll get a referral from you. But when you actually really build community, you start to find more resource than you had, more support than you had. You solve problems faster. Business becomes a joy, not a weight.
Yep, totally agree. Love it. Well, mate, it's been so great chatting with you today. We've covered a lot of different things, a range of topics. This is your chance now to sort of look down the barrel for our audience today that are listening, watching, wherever they are. What's one key message that you want to leave with them today?
You don't have to do business alone. There is so much support out there, and it might be me or there are a number of other people. In fact, I know some amazing other coaches in this space who will help with so much. And even just connecting in with guys like Cody and Lee at DEC, you're building community straight away. Because if you feel like you have to do everything alone, you're doing it all yourself, and you're doing it with one arm tied behind your back. Get out there, be connected, start thinking about the fact that you're a business, not just a support provider or anything like that. Run a business that will help more people sustainably for a long time, not burn you out.
Love it. There we go. We'll seal that off. That's beautiful, mate. Well, if people want to get in touch, how do they do that? How can they find you and sort of reach out?
Yeah, absolutely. Just drop us a line at paul@profitableprovider.com.au. You'll probably see one of my posts online. I monitor all of them all the time. We've got a link where you can jump on a quick chat with me and see what's going on. We don't sell. We have nothing to sell. People ask to come and work with us. So if we jump on a call, we're just going to see how I can support you.
Love it.
And we just have a lot of fun supporting businesses. And not everybody needs what we do all the time. And there's lots of people I could refer you to for different other services as well.
Yeah, fantastic. You are very well connected, which is great. So I think it's very important. But, mate, look, I've thoroughly enjoyed today. Like I said, it's been very nice to be in the same state/room with you for a change. We're always traveling around, but I really appreciate your time today.
Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Perfect. Thanks, guys.